But they stood up, they got beat down by Trudeau, and Americans decided, you know what, we're going to pick up that baton and we're going to run with it. And so there's a number of convoys that are planned, but the People's Convoy is the first one that got started off. So they started off on Wednesday. Today, in El Monte, California, there's going to be another one that's going to be starting off. And they're going to be driving somewhere near me. I don't know if I'll be able to catch up with them or not. And then
that's not far from where I am.
Yeah, so see if you can find them. They're kicking off out of El Monte. And then on March 2nd, there's going to be, and I don't know what that one's called, but on March 2nd, there's going to be one called Freedom Convoy 2022 USA. They're leaving on March 2nd from Fresno. And they're going to drive south through Bakersfield into Los Angeles, and then they're going to cut across on 10. They're going to take the most southern route of all the convoys. So we've got 3 convoys starting off in California. And this one, it started off with maybe about 40, 50 trucks, but then they also had a handful of RVs, and they had well over 100 cars. And by the time they got to Arizona for their first stop, they had doubled in size.
All right.
And then they stopped last night right on the border between Arizona and New Mexico. And they were even bigger. And they were addressed this morning by the vice president of the Navajo Nation. You know, for anybody who wants to say that, we're not a diverse group of people, they just don't know what they're talking about. And there are YouTubers that are embedded in this that just got kind of caught up in it. And one that I would definitely recommend that everybody follow is Sazmac. It's Kansas spelled backwards. He is a bona fide trucker with some 30 years experience.
Nice.
And he was just on the side of the road fueling up on Route 40. He kind of had an idea that these convoys were going to be going on, but he was sitting there just fueling up his van because in the winter months he's got the freedom to do what he wants and he travels. And he saw this convoy going by and he's like, you know what? I'm going to join them.
Heck yeah.
And his channel went from some 40,000. He had a channel before, from some 40,000 subs to now he's over 60,000 subs. And he is doing live streaming. So he streams, like he'll go on an overpass, he'll go on ahead, and there's a 10-minute video of just people from the convoy going through.
And we're going to see some video, right?
I don't know if we're going to see him.
But
I just told him about it this morning. But
there's so much going on. Obviously, there's a lot to talk about. But I want to back up to what you talked about. So the vice president of the Navajo Nation.
Yes.
And is this is in Arizona or in New Mexico?
This is in Arizona, but Navajo Nation is like the largest nation, so they're on both sides.
Right.
And this is another example of just God's providence. And I want to encourage people, if you have been thinking about starting a YouTube channel, you don't think you know anything, just step out in faith, because that's what these people did with this convoy. They didn't have everything planned out to the end. They started off on Wednesday. I think they had somewhere around $300,000 that they had raised. They're now well over $600,000 raised, and that's just what was raised on the website. People have been giving cash to them from when we started off in Adelanto. They showed up that a company, a restaurant said, "Hey, we'll host you the first night." It was called Great American Pizza and Subs in Golden Valley, Arizona. And then the next day, where they stopped off last night, it was just a campground. They had no plans for dinner. The Navajo Nation showed up with pulled pork and chili and just more food than they could possibly eat. God provides.
What exactly is this convoy supposed to accomplish? What was accomplished in Canada? What are we going to accomplish with the convoy?
The hope is to end the mandates and to get our freedoms back. And that's what their main purpose was.
There's one mandate that has ended today, and that's the indoor mask. Mm-hmm. That's been lifted. No convoy.
Well, do you think the convoys had nothing to do with it? Or do you think that maybe
Absolutely.
Some of the politicians might be seeing
it's the
writing on the wall?
The CDC announced it. The indoor mask mandate is now ended. Effective today.
They're watching the polls. Right?
Yeah.
So they're watching the polls and like, we're going to get slaughtered in November. And look what happened in Canada. Those truckers shut down the Capitol and the nation of Canada sided with the truckers. No matter what Trudeau did in Canada, the message got across, Mom, that's dictatorial, totalitarian, authoritarian dictates coming down from the top are not what Canadians are interested in. And Trudeau's own party has spoken against him, and Canadians, right? So they have elections coming too. Trudeau may be gone forever after this, right? So it's long term, not short term. What was accomplished in Canada? A lot. The whole world started convoys, and the truckers have the power, right? You don't have an infrastructure, you don't have an economy if you don't have people bringing the goods to you. And so the United States are like, okay, let's really show them. Sorry.
There is definitely a political component to this. And I've gotten comments on my live stream saying, these truckers should be, staying home. They're going to get themselves in trouble. They're causing inconvenience. They're going to cause, stock outages or whatever. We're going into war with Ukraine. Why are we doing this? If they want to make an impact, just have them stay home and not stock the shelves, and that'll make an impact. But the impact is seeing this. The impact is seeing all these people out there feeling the patriotism again, feeling a sense of unity, because our politicians want to divide us, the media wants to divide us, and
then what? And then what? You see the impact. You see the impact, but then what? What's the impact? The positive that comes out of the impact.
Well, I can tell you, for instance, in California, there's a lot of my neighbors who are conservative, and they feel like their vote doesn't count, and so what's the point? And there's a lot of people out there that are like, what's the point? And there was a sign I saw that I took a picture of it. I posted it, and it's something to the effect of that if you think that you're just too small to make a difference, you've never been, trying to fall asleep with a mosquito or something like that. Then a mosquito can make a difference, right? And it's so small. And so the point is to encourage us to get back involved again. And I think that's what Trump did for us in 2016. It got a lot of people more involved in politics and trying to affect change. So along with this convoy is just getting people to know that they're not alone. When people think they're alone, then they are already defeated. And this
you don't
is
think
just
that, you don't think that
together.
Trump created a lot of division as well during his term?
I think it was not Trump. I think it was the media's interpretation of Trump. You can slice and dice video any way you want it to make somebody look bad.
Donald Trump was God's rock that smashed the veneer that everything's just fine. You continue life as it was, and Donald Trump broke that up, right? There's a military industrial complex, there's a fourth estate, there's the deep state, and Trump was not a part of that, and they thought they had that election in 2016 in the bag, and then when the results came in that they could no longer manipulate, they had to scramble, and so they launched a multi-year campaign to smear him. I'm thrilled that he freaked people out because it exposed who's on which side. Now you pick China or you pick the United States because of Trump, right? There are people that are realizing, there's a lot of bad going on in the world. And all right, we could go on this, but I want to move on. Yes, you have a bunch of stuff, Jen and Jennifer and Matt.
I was going to mention one thing. I think the main reason we need to be doing this is actually for our kids. To end the mandates for our kids in schools, for them to be able to go to school, because we're sacrificing our kids' mental health for the older generation. And whenever society does that, it always collapses. So, in my opinion, that's the main reason this needs to be done more than anything else.
My kids are still wearing masks. I live in California. They wear masks in the classrooms all day, every day. It drives me freaking nuts.
I'm in West Virginia, and they're still wearing masks until next week.
Yeah. And so lifting mask mandate, that may be nationwide, but there are governors and mayors and...
Well, the other thing I'm concerned about is them having to get this to be able to go to school.
Yeah. Well, that apparently is it's coming in California, right?
Yeah. It's
the
agenda. Yeah.
Well, it's a moving goalpost. So it was announced back in the fall that I think it was January 10th was the cutoff, where you cannot go to a government-run school, public school, unless you're vaccinated, right? I'm like, I'm not getting my kids vaccinated. I'm sorry. My kids are extremely healthy and they're athletic, and there's no reason for them to get jabbed and then another jab and another jab and then every year a new jab when they're not at risk. But to be mandated to go to school to do that, so
You don't have to do that to get the with flu.
right. So they pushed that goalpost off, but supposedly it's still happening. So those are the mandates that we are protesting, and these truckers are heading to DC. Whew, are they going to be locked away like the January 6th people? Like, are they going to round up truckers as now the new oppressed minority because they are resisting the trying to, like, it's sedition and insurrection and, you know, trying to overthrow a duly elected government?
They're not going inside DC. They're going on the Beltway of DC, which
Yeah.
will cause a lot of chaos,
yeah.
all throughout the East Coast, because that's the transit going from north to south.
It's a power move, right? So DC is the hub of global elitism, right? I mean, if you look at corruption, just look at the real estate prices around DC, right? It's the most expensive place on the planet to live, which means they're just voting themselves money, right? They're lining their pockets. There's foreign money coming in. There's lobbyists. There's all kinds of corruption happening around there. The truckers are like, well, we can shut down DC. Easy. Where is the power, right? Where's the real power in the United States of America? It's this amazing infrastructure of highways and freeways and the vehicles that bring us our goods and services. Everything sitting around you has been sitting in a truck at one time, right? That is like, who knew that the truckers are the ones that actually have power? But how will this administration react? That's the question.
Well, I can tell you that Trudeau is cracking down now. He has rescinded his Emergency Powers Act. He claims he's unfreezing bank accounts. So, you know, we shall see. But you know, it's too little, too late here. But I think he's seeing the writing on the wall.
We had Jim Tormey, and he gave us the reason why they did it. It's because it went to the Senate in Canada, and Canada's Senate was not going to vote to keep on the Emergency Act. So if they would have done that, that would have been a no confidence. That would automatically trigger a new election in Canada, and they didn't want to do that. That's the reason he's rescinding it. That is the main reason he's rescinding that.
All right.
There you go.
Clarify that for me, Matt, real quick, because what I understand, so there was a vote.
All right. There's first vote was in the Congress, their equivalent of Congress, and they passed it. And the reason they passed it is because of Trudeau pressuring them. And then it went to the Senate, and the Senate was going to pass it. And
okay. See, that's new news to me. I didn't realize that.
If they didn't pass it, that would have triggered a no confidence vote on Trudeau. That would cause a brand new election, and he wouldn't have won. So his party
instantly. No confidence means he's pretty much removed, right? Or
it's kind of like an impeachment, but it'll start just election, and it's more like a recall, I guess. Well, I would consider it more like a recall.
A recall.
Where a new election would start up, and he didn't want that because he knew he wouldn't win. Especially with
writing on the wall.
Yeah.
Right. So it was a success. Exactly.
Yes.
So the truckers going into Ottawa was a success. It got the message across.
Not only that, you had 17 premiers, which are governors, equivalent governors in Canada. They're suing the federal government in Canada because of the Emergency Act, because they said it was taking away people's rights and so on and so forth. So he knew that was coming too. There was a lot of reasons why he did it.
How many provinces are in Canada? You got 50 states. You know, what do they have?
I have no idea.
It's like 10, 15. Something.
No, it's
8, 9.
I'm pretty sure.
No, more than 17, I guess.
12. Okay, it was.
So I was right. To between 10 and 15.
Okay.
But that, like at the beginning of this, like when it was a couple weeks in, Ottawa was shut down. Some of those states were like, well, we were going with the federal mandates, but now we're going to reverse that and stop the mandates because, right, whole big chunks of Canada were pulling away from the federal leadership, right? All right, what's coming up? What do we have next? Do we have videos that we're going to show? I'm turning this over to you, Matt and Jennifer. You guys
Yeah, I've been told there are some videos that, cause I took a lot of, I did a couple interviews and I did some live streaming. So what do we have to show, Matt?
The first one,
And I'm with Sweet Home California and also This Way Network. It's another it's like a conglomerate of small YouTubers trying to get the word out on digitizing. Your name, sir? Bob? Nice to meet you, Bob. Denver. You came all the way here from Denver? So tell me your story.
Ultra conservative, I could probably be the poster child for redneck. Oil and
So I
gas,
really like your hat.
family values, wanker. That's it.
That's it. And this
That
truck you're gonna
hat
be
is leather and rattlesnake.
Yeah, the bike is a little too
Nice. The bike is too cold.
Yeah. So why did you decide to come down here to California instead of joining up with the convoys leaving out of Colorado?
Brian Brosey caught my attention. He seemed to be the first one to start this, and I just followed it
Mm-hmm.
and wanted to be at the start.
Absolutely. This is also going to be one of the longer convoys to get there. So, yeah. So what do you hope to get out of this participating in the convoy?
Experience, that's what I hope to get out of it. I hope the country gets an awakening. I hope we can change some voters' minds. I think we can change some politicians' minds. That's it.
These are worthy goals. All right. Well, great. Thank you so much, sir, for joining me on camera. And these days out there, we'll be praying for your safety and that this is effective.
and the next one is going to be a truck driver where he's taking donations for the for truckers. So they'll have plenty of water, food, so on and so forth. And there's a lot of donations. So let's go ahead and take a look at that.
Yeah, so I showed this truck from the other side, and now we're seeing the inside, and they are getting a bunch of donations here.
No, not keep out there. Yeah, that came with it. Yeah, it's not from us. We're taking it out. We're getting out where to get more. Yeah.
It's a 53-foot truck. So tell me, what got you involved in this movement? So you're going to be going the whole way? Yeah. What is the plan once you get to East Coast?
Rally the troops. Let's see if we can find a real fight.
I heard from one of the other convoy organizers that they were planning on just driving around the DC Beltway, basically causing snarl-ups. What are we planning on doing with this convoy?
It sounds like the driver is
Any plans to meet with any congressmen or representatives?
I haven't heard anything about that.
So how much? Okay. Well, you got this truck here with full of donations. Tell me about that.
It just won't stop. People in California is really surprising. I don't ever hear anything good about California.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody I've met up here has been awesome.
Okay. All right. Great. Okay. Well, it's a good start here.
Yeah.
And it's cold, but it's sunshine, so.
Right.
All right.
Wait, go down.
Yeah. Can I have your name, sir?
Dallas.
Dallas, thank you so much, Dallas. I appreciate it.
All right.
Bye.
Jennifer, field correspondent. Oh my gosh, I'm just, I
used
love
to
it.
read a newspaper for my my college newspaper. I used to be a reporter for my college newspaper. So all those old skills back there. I'm making use of them.
I love it. Where was this again? This was the first launch of the first convoy in which city?
Adelanto.
Adelanto.
Yes.
And so is there a map? I don't mean right now, but I'd like to see, or maybe have the producer email me a map of the routes, because you said there's 3 California convoys. There's one that this one's going the 40, or they're about to go into New Mexico right now. I know this route, right? So my dad lives just off the 40 in northern Arizona and then northern New Mexico. And actually, there's a lot of Indian reservations. I camped at an Indian reservation on a road trip I took in the summer. So gorgeous part of the country. Then there's one that's going to be going to 10, which is parallel but south. The 10 freeway goes all the way to Florida, I guess. The 10, I guess it goes to the East Coast. But where's the 3rd convoy? What route are they taking? You know?
I don't. And there are the People's Convoy, the organizers for this one that I saw the kickoff on. They do have other convoys that are under the umbrella heading of People's Convoy that's starting up from the northeast and coming down and from Florida and going north. So there are a number of other legs even to the People's Convoy, but the one that's showing right now, that's that main path from Atlanta going to DC, and they're actually going to be stopping outside in Hagerstown, which is about an hour and a half away from DC, and that's my hometown. That's the neighborhood I used to live in for some 20 years, and I still have family over there, so I'm hoping to get some on the ground.
Bring that map back up. All right, so Matt, you're the business you work in. Well, tell me what's going on. I know you're connecting with this convoy at some point.
Yes, I'm connecting with them in Ohio, in Cambridge. I got a map actually of Cambridge, but they're going to be coming in on 77. I'm sorry, not 77, 70, and then taking 70 to Maryland, and then taking, I believe, 70 to 68 to Maryland, and then they go down to Washington, D.C. that way. But I'll be connecting with them in Ohio, and I'll stay there for a night and follow them all the way through. But most of the truck drivers in my company, is the reason that I'm not going to be working that week is because most of them are joining the convoy.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the case. A lot of people actually are going to feel this. And that was one of the things that was discussed in the Canadian convoy. It's like, okay, without the free flow of goods and services, the price of products go up, or people that are truck drivers are not making an income, so they're going to have to do without because their intention, it's like a strike or a boycott. I'm not going to work. I'm not going to drive because I'm doing this. And one of the guys, this was an interview with one of the Canadian truckers, who was saying, you know what, we are at the lower, we're not white collar, we're not wealthy, we're used to doing without, right? We're used to sacrificing, we're used to penny pinching, we're used to stocking up when we have to. We can handle this, we can weather this. And the point he was making was it's the elites that don't get all of their toys in the like all the stuff that the trucks bring. It's the elites that get more discombobulated when the brand new car is not here, and the brand new this and the brand new that, and the luxury items that the elites are the most used to. It's more inconvenient for them than a trucker going without a paycheck for a couple of weeks. It's how the grassroots, right? This is the definition of grassroots. It's the people voicing their opinions by using their feet, or in this case, using their 18 wheels.
The other thing I wanted to mention is majority of these truck drivers, they're not from big companies like Swift or Walmart. They're truck drivers that are independents. They own their own rig, or they have their own business where they have like 4 or 5 trucks. So these people aren't going to hurt the economy as bad as you think. Like you're going to still have goods and services going to Walmart, going to big shopping areas still, because those truck drivers can't do that because they're part of a big company or they're union. And obviously unions and big companies aren't going to allow their truck drivers to do this.
Right. So it's the independence.
Yes.
Still a big impact. We got one more video. Before we play that, what was I going to say? Oh, so is this sedition? Or is this some kind of treasonous?
Was BLM sedition?
No.
Well, that's the narrative, right? That's
Yes.
what's being said, right? Like
Oh.
the left, and that's what's happening in Canada. All the narratives were like, this is a overthrow of democracy. It's like an overthrow. Literally, voicing your opinion is being called an overthrow of democracy. And so I imagine that's the same narrative we're going to hear here, or are we already hearing that?
Oh yeah, from the media, of course, they're trying to say that. But again, that's why they want to keep us divided, and they don't want to show the video of the true convoys that are going on. There was a convoy that started out of Pennsylvania. I forgot the gentleman's name. I think it's Bob something, but he was definitely a right wing, and he wanted to come into DC with thousands of trucks and stop the Beltway. He wanted to stop traffic. And they're making a lot of hay out of him because I think he started out with maybe 10 trucks, and by the time they got to DC, he had like 2. I don't know. It was something ridiculously small. And so they're like, this is the so-called convoy, you know, it failed before it even began, and laughing him off. But they're ignoring the People's Convoy.
Yeah.
And I saw on my Facebook, something came up, a woman who had news in her title. So she was portraying herself as somebody who was providing news. And she had a video of the Atlanta send-off. And granted, you know, this is the very beginning. You know, there were a number of people who were in their cars waiting to leave. There were only a few of us that were there just to cover it. So we weren't necessarily in a car ready to leave. And so there were some trucks going by, and there were just a handful of people with flags, and people were making comments like, that's pathetic. I mean, that's the kind of send-off, or not send-off, because she put in her title that this is the first convoy coming to DC. So she was saying that this was the end of the road with just a handful of people and, 20, 30 trucks. And so people were like, this is disappointing. This is ridiculous. Yeah, they've got no support. And I commented on there several times, like, this is the beginning. This is in deep blue California, the very beginning. It's already quadrupled in size. So you guys have got to follow the YouTubers that are in there. You've got to build trust relationships with people who are telling you the truth, not with these big conglomerates that have their own agenda that they want to put out.
We need you know how some stations in December or Christmas Eve, they do a Santa tracker, right? Mm-hmm. We need a convoy tracker. Right?
Yeah.
We need some kind of visual moving kind of one on each convoy and see where they're at, and maybe a tally of the length of it. It's now 4 miles long. It's now 20 miles long, whatever. It's going to, because truckers are like, okay, I'm in this part of the country right now, and I'm going to join it at this point, right? And there'll probably be people that have to jump off for different reasons, but overall, it seems logical that it would get bigger and longer.
Yeah, but we just need to keep sharing all of these videos of people who are actually a part of it, and just keep sharing it so it shows up on everybody's Facebook feeds and their YouTube feeds and everything, and they can't ignore it. Because right now they want to focus on that failed convoy in Pennsylvania. But anyhow.
I got one thing to say.
The cat is allowed, Mom. The cat is allowed. So.
I got one thing to say. I noticed a comment. The comment is 79 does connect to 68. It actually does through 79. And 70 doesn't connect to 68. It does through 79. You take 70 to 79 down south, it'll connect to 68 through West Virginia. But anyway, that's all.
Let me interject here, because I'm a little, it's ironic come to say this, I work in a technical industry as an editor, but I'm a little not so technically savvy on this platform that we use. And there's somebody in the comment section says, Michael, do you read the comments? And I literally just clicked over to the comments. That's the first comment that I read. I'm like, sorry, I'm looking at, we have for those of you watching right now, we have one section that's the behind the scenes chat where it's the producers, prepping what's coming. And then the other panel is the comments for the people that are watching. I'm sorry, I was watching the producer channel for a while. Now I'm watching the comments. All right, we do have another video we have to show here. So somebody want to cue this up?
This one has a YouTuber I'm sure everybody will know.
Anyhow, all right,
All right.
check. Hey,
All right, cool.
I ran into the economic ninja.
Hey, everybody, how you doing?
I'm so happy to see you. I was really happy that you were here last night. Tell me what you discovered here yesterday, talking with the people here.
Well, I didn't get to talk to a lot of people because it's so darn cold. I'm freezing right now. I know, I'm a wuss. But it wasn't what I dressed for. We had that polar plunge that came in. Me and my son drove down here, like, holy cow, cold. Well, a lot of people were smiling and happy, but everyone was still like getting situated. Supplies were coming in, things like that. There were only about 15 trucks when we came in. There's obviously a lot more now, and it looks like more are coming in. But I'm going to be honest with you, just a sense of excitement and peace, happiness and energy. And I was super stoked to be here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was telling people last night, like, it's going to be cold. Make sure you are dressed for it. And I had to dig these out of the back of my truck. They're mismatched. And I'm like, Alexa, I have a left hand and a right hand.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
You got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so yeah, I'm super excited. Very curious as to what the next couple of weeks are going to bring with the economy, because what we saw in Canada was absolutely horrific. And now I'm just seeing news that Canada is rethinking about seizing the money, seizing bank accounts. I guess that wasn't a good idea. So
really, so they're reconsidering
yeah, they're reconsidering it. Yeah, so and I'm very concerned because I know that our country has the laws already on the books, ready to rock and roll for bank bail-ins and things like that, bank seizures, and so it's going to be a very interesting couple of weeks, let's say.
Yeah, the terrible thing about that whole Canadian thing is that they basically said, all right, we're coming in, we're taking names, we're taking your bank information, and even if you leave, we're still tracking you down. This is going to take months.
Exactly.
So they're basically encouraging people to fight.
Yeah. So what are they going to do with the long months?
There's no point in going home and going back into your hole, because they're going to reach you out. They need to stand the ground, hold the line.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out if these trucks that they seize, can we auction them off?
Oh,
what are they doing with the animals, the dogs? It's like, this is horrible. Like, I wonder what they're going to do with Elon Musk. Elon Musk gave money. What do you think they're going to do? Let's call them out right now, Canada. You're going to sit there and do things to the average, ordinary person that wanted to do something to help people fight for their rights. But what are you going to do with Elon Musk? Let's throw that one out there.
Yeah, we need to see this through to the end peacefully.
Yeah, and wait, can I jump? I'm grateful to people like Elon Musk to throw out money and go, here, let me help a cause, a great cause they believe in. So
there's another. I lost his name. Another big guy is going to be joining the People's Convoy. Totally forgot his name. He's interviewed with Newsmax the other day.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you remember him.
No, I barely watch the news now.
Yeah, I know. I got so much else going on. Of course, I'm on camera and I just can't think of the name.
The record button goes, my brain goes, and it goes blank. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, but it works for you. So
I just say stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just figure I just go out there and record, and people either like it or they won't. So hopefully we'll get there. But anyhow, I also wanted to talk to you about This Way Network. So it's something that I'm also involved in, and we would just love to have any content or help. We've got only about 1,000 subscribers on that channel.
Oh, nice.
And I can give you the name of our
communications
director.
I'll give you. Well, here, hold on. There's a little tidbit. Okay. I want people to know, like yourself, that started a YouTube channel and are going out and covering stories. You are covering a real story, right? There, you don't see big press out here. They don't want to be here. Yeah, weird. But the fact are, there is a little tax credit in the tax code now for journalists, small journalists covering the news. And I want you to know about that. I want everyone to know about it, because it's very important that it doesn't go to the big boys. It goes to people like yourself that are covering the news. And tax credits, I don't know if you're familiar with the difference in tax
credits. I'm a small business owner.
There you go. So you know a credit from a deduction. A lot of people don't understand how powerful those are. Yeah. And so I want you to know that. Yep, mileage is important. And I think that it's very important to know that there's a journalist tax credit out there. And so dig around in the tax code, just Google journalist tax credit. You'll find it real quick on Google.
Oh, outstanding. I need to get me one of these.
After the recording, I'll let you know which ones. They're awesome.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Hey,
I appreciate the time. I know there's a lot of other people out here to talk to.
We're rock and roll.
It's getting there. Yeah, the sun is coming out. So.
Thank heavens. I need some sun.
Okay, great. Yeah. Thanks. Bye.
Nice. We got to reverse our cameras now so we can read that People's Convoy in that truck. you know, right?
Yeah, I just wanted to get things out so quick. I
Oh, no,
didn't
no.
take the time to do editing, but yeah.
It's actually kind of, I work for a very high-profile TV show, and we have the same thing, right? I used footage yesterday with words in reverse because the cameras look like it's fine. But I wanted to see the words People's Convoy. Mom here is shaking her head.
No, I'm not.
But it's good to have that question, like, what is the point of all this, right? What was accomplished? What have they been accomplished? And a lot is being accomplished. The news isn't reporting on it. But Mom, do you think this is a worthwhile effort, or do you think it's a whole lot of bluster? I was going to try and quote Shakespeare, but I wouldn't butcher it.
Well, I'm not a political animal. I don't like politics, never have. And people can do what they're going to do. There's going to be violence. There's going to be a negative to it too. I don't know. I almost don't know what to think about it, I guess. I think these efforts are futile. That's what I think. It's not going to change the political climate.
Oh,
It's not.
that's so defeatist.
What just happened here? All right, wait, hold on.
Well, November's coming. November's coming, and we will see. But it's just that everybody has their hopes in politics. That's what bothers me. Our hopes are in politics. Our hope should be in Jesus.
Okay, guys, I'm not going to show this whole thing in entirety, but I just wanted to promote the This Way Network. And you just go ahead and head on over there, like, share, and subscribe, and you can watch us on a regular basis. All right, guys, until the next time, I'm going to get out of here. We'll see ya. And